pirate movie, but I just did not expect the ultra violence. Like from the beginning, I was like, yo, like I locked in immediately. I was like, first scene, I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
Well, thank you. That's
what was that
a good
like
thing, right?
to film? I mean, is it when you're doing something that's that hyper violent? Like, does that freak you out at all? Like you're cutting people open with swords and stabbing them in the neck, and it's like, holy shit.
When you're doing it, it's like make believe. So it's so much fun to be like, yeah, I'm playing pirates and I'm gonna behead you. But I mean, in moments of like scenes and stuff where I actually had to think about what it must have been like to be a female at that time, or because they existed, female pirates existed, and we didn't hear much about stories about them. I mean, I heard about Grace O'Malley, maybe there were Mary Read, like a few famous ones,
right.
Ching Shi, after I did my research. But like in those moments, you're like, this stuff must have, like this was real. They lived at a time where it was survival of the fittest. It was barbaric. And I wonder what that must have been like. But besides that, the stunts and stuff, like I really have so much admiration for the amount of precision it requires to pull that stuff off from so many people, not just the stunt department, but like the cameras, because they're also moving in sync with you.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
It is cool. Is it hard to stay in the moment when all that is happening? Because you have so much coordination and so there's so much choreography. There's like he's gonna swing this way and you're gonna block it and you're gonna dive down. It's so complex. Like these are long, extended fight scenes.
We had like a lot of one-ers too, like the whole scene in one shot.
Whoa.
Which Frankie, our director, really loved the idea of, and I honestly love it because it brings you into that moment is so enriched with everything that you're supposed to feel between action and cut. So I do love a long one-er. But, I come from Bollywood movies, so we have a lot of choreography for like dance sequences where stories are also moving forward, like between, your exchange of expression or something's happening somewhere else, you come back. So I treat sort of fight sequences like dancing. It's you learn the choreography, but that doesn't stop your face from telling the story.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just choreography. Whether it's choreography with dance or choreography with
guns
movements
or
with your hands
weapons.
and swords.
I had never worked with blades before this movie, though. That was cool.
How much training did you have to do? Like when you found out that you're going to take the role, how much preparation did you have to do physically to get ready for all that stuff?
It was a cool year for me because I was filming 3 jobs, which were all action and stunts. So this movie called Heads of State, which I did for Amazon again, and then Citadel and this movie. So it was a year of 3 action-packed jobs. So being agile and being in it was already part of what I was doing because that's what I was filming every day. But the swords training was tough, and to be ambidextrous with it as well. So I had my stunt coordinator who was doing all 3 movies with me. She, in between shots, she and I would just take our rubber swords out and do like choreography and rehearsals. But like it took at least 3 or 4 months of just staying in it and getting loose with it. Also because Carl Urban, my co-actor, had learned how to do like sword fights in the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So he was amazing at it. So I didn't, in that last duel, I didn't want to be any less than. So I kind of went at it.
No, you look very good at it. It was really good.
Thank you.
I was like, did you work with some sort of like a kendo specialist or some fencing specialist? Like, how did you learn how to move the sword correctly?
It wasn't kendo, for sure, and it definitely wasn't fencing. It was uniquely, because the swords were, our director was very, very excited about the weapons in this movie and wanting to get it really right from the period, whether it was the guns that we used or the blades that we used. The machete was one of my favorite weapons in the movie because that's like her weapon in the movie because it's practical. Use it for coconuts, use it for skulls, same. And that was really fun. But our second unit director Rob Alonzo had so much experience in the amount of work that he's done prior. He came in with a very specific idea of wanting to make the fighting style super unique, and each set piece like a different design of choreography. So, there was one which was in a dark cave, so the only time you saw people was when the gunshot went off, and just different styles of fighting, which I thought was really cool.
So, but did you have like a professional trainer that taught you how to do that?
Yes.
And so, how would you do it? Would you do it with a real sword? Did you do it with like?
Well, we had 3 different kinds of swords. The real sword weighs more than me. It was insane. I couldn't do it with the real sword as much. But for filming, and this is the magic of the movies, you have 4 different weights of it. One is like the real sword, where you need it for where it's a close up, or the sword is really, really visible. But when you're doing the big choreography, you have like a lighter sword, which is created by the props department, and then another lighter one. And when you need to flip it, it's the lightest one.
Because I was
I'm
thinking,
telling you all my secrets.
That's good. It's good to know.
That sucks. Oh no.
No, listen.
Here I was trying to impress you with my sword flipping.
No, it's impressive. Period.
And talking about my fencing, but no, it was movie magic.
One of the things that I was thinking when I was watching it is like, how many takes did you have to do with this? Because that's got to be so hard to do. Because you're swinging this gigantic iron thing, and clashing into other ones. And like, if you have to do 3 or 4 takes of this, your arms are going to be toast.
Oh, we did like 10 hours of it every day for like 7 days or something.
Do you have shoulder problems after that?
No, actually I didn't, but I was jacked. My arms never looked as good. Now, I have a 4-year-old and I lift her a lot, so my arms are like all right. But during this movie, because we were just like at it. Yeah. And we both, threw ourselves at it, Carl and I, and it was a big choreography on top of this bluff. We shot on 100% of this movie. At least 90% is definitely on practical sets, real sets. We did not want to use a lot of VFX. So, Phil Ivey, our production designer, we built the ships, we built the house, we built...
Really?
Everything was a replica of what it would have looked like in the 1900s in the Cayman Islands. We went and saw it. It was amazing to be able to do that with real stuff,
Yeah. Well, the whole history of piracy is so fascinating. And one of the things that the movie is about is the Carl Urban character he was one of the soldiers of the East India Trading Company. Mm-hmm. Then I went on a deep dive on the East India Trading Company.
You did.
That is crazy. When you learn the history of that, one corporation is one of the first publicly traded corporations that essentially was in control of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, went to war with China over opium, and that's how they took over Hong Kong. You're like, holy shit. One crazy fucking corporation involved in the slave trade, the opium trade, just a corporation, a publicly traded corporation. People could buy stock in it, like one of the first ones. And it just went haywire to the point where it got so big, there was a revolt, and then the British government took over it, nationalized it. But the whole story is insane.
If you think about how much in their minds they were able to achieve and how much they were able to destroy in that duration is crazy if you go down history.
Changed the course of countries forever.
Of human lives forever.
Forever.
Like the amount of pillaging that happened.
Yes.
Millions and millions of lives. And this movie actually has a really interesting slice of what they were capable of doing. They utilized pirates in order to, take over new lands, right? And in their conquests. And then when piracy was abolished, they, went after them and they wanted to arrest them, and they vilified the same people that helped them build their entire empire. So this was really interesting because my character's story, her parents and her family are indentured servants, which was the truth of many, many people, especially in India, where young people were, told better opportunities, new lands, more money. Come with us and take them off as servants and then drop them in different parts of the world, in islands. And the Caribbean has a huge Indian community whose history started with just being displaced from their lands and dropped somewhere else in the world, and then having to figure out what your future looks like. I mean, it still happens to many many people around the world right now. But I thought it was really interesting that my character came from that, and her entire identity was erased, taken from her. She had no idea. She was 12, so she had no idea what it meant to have that identity. And I met so many people actually when I went to the Cayman who don't know anything about their family tree beyond like 5 generations, or they know where their family may have come from Sri Lanka or from India or, any other nation, but have no idea what it was, where, from what village, like what was your culture. And that ambiguity in a history of a human being erases a part of you. It denies you of knowing the depth of your culture or where you come from or your roots. And I thought that was really, really interesting for my character to play and then reclaim herself through the journey of the movie.
Well, it's a fascinating part of human history.
Yeah.
And it's taken place all over the world. And for a lot of cultures, they don't have an understanding of exactly what happened before they were colonized.
Yeah.
Like one of the great examples is Mexico. I went in a long, deep dive on Mexico recently over the last few months because I've had a bunch of people who are historians who came on the podcast who were just researching these ancient Inca and Mayan sites and talking to them about it. And then I went into it, and it's like there was over 100 different languages that are just lost forever in that whole what is now called Mexico. And that's the reason why everybody over there speaks Spanish and is Catholic. Like, it's not because that was their language and that was their religion. They were all conquered.
Absolutely. I mean,
by like 600 guys. That's what's nuts.
Yeah.
600 guys in the 1500s came over, took over, what was the Aztec Empire with help of the people that they were in conflict with, and changed the course of the entire country. It's a
so many generations.
For forever. Like, to this day, people in Mexico think they speak Spanish and they have a Catholic religion. Well, that's all brought over from Spain. Like, the entire country. They had wild names, too, like Cacao, Thunder, Sky God, and all these different, like, almost like Native American type names.
Wow.
They looked like Native Americans. But if you think about it, doesn't that make sense?
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
They probably, shared land and crops and,
Well, there was no real...
There were no borders at that time.
No, back then. I mean, what were countries in the 1500s in North America? Like, we don't even know. Like, what was North America like?
I think about how young America is technically.
Super young.
Like, how many years? 300 years? 400 years?
Yeah, less than 300 years.
Yeah, and like you were talking about history in India, she has been invaded over thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Only invaded. We've never invaded anybody else. She's not had the time. India's like, just give me a break. The Portuguese, the British, the Mughals, like from back in time. And the history of India, I mean, I'm not a historian and I don't claim to be, but I find it really fascinating. I love culture, and especially the culture of India. Like, you will see my grandmother was Catholic because she was raised in a part of India which was colonized, and a lot of people with Kerala, a lot of people were converted into Catholicism. And she grew up Catholic, and, she followed it for a really long time in her life. India is like hyper diverse because of how many people have kind of made it her roots. So when you go to India, the amount of diversity you will see, the range of people that you will meet is impossible to fathom. Like, an Indian face does not look like a particular person. Or the amount of cultures, the languages. We have written and spoken languages which are almost like 20-something or in their 30s. Absolutely different alphabet, absolutely different sound. If I go to another state, I won't be able to understand what people are saying.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow. How many different languages are spoken there?
About 28 to 30. But there are dialects in their hundreds.
Oh, wow.
Don't even get into the dialects. I just speak English and Hindi. Understand a little bit of Punjabi and Marathi, but it's really amazing.
No, but
Have you ever been, by the way?
no, I haven't.
Oh, Joe, you have to. You would really like. You're the kind of guy who likes a deep dive.
Yeah.
You would really lose yourself, I think.
Well, I
in an
want to
amazing
go
way.
just to see it for many things, but just to see that one immense temple that was carved entirely out of stone.
Oh yeah.
Is one of the great mysteries of archaeology.
But there are quite a few if you go, especially south of India, and the caves. If you go inside the Andaman and Nicobar, like the caves, you'll see from thousands and tens and thousands of years ago illustrations that you're like, how did this happen? How could this temple have been chiseled, or how could these stones have been moved at that time?
Right.
It's just it made me very, very curious about like what kind of tools did we have back then?
Well, there's a lot of holes in human history.
Yeah, for sure.
Graham Hancock has a great quote. He says that we are a species with amnesia, and I think that's accurate. And I think when you find some of the great archaeological wonders, where people just have decided, oh, they built it this way, and then just let it go, and then other people start looking at it and go, wait a minute, how? How did they do this? Like, when did they do this? Like, what's the historical record of this? Because this is kind of nuts. This seems to indicate like a very advanced, sophisticated society.
Yeah, a very advanced civilization. Like one of the oldest civilizations in the world, along with the Mayans, is the Indus Valley civilization, which is the north of India.
Yeah.
And I just remember studying about it in school, and that's my maximum understanding of that civilization, but also like having visited the Indus River, I guess. But I remember like the artifacts that were found, and like if you do a deep dive into how that civilization existed and then how it was erased, and it makes you question like there had to be some seriously advanced like scientific understanding that was eventually lost as human evolution happened, where we lose a civilization and then comes back again. But it just makes you wonder about early humans and how fascinatingly advanced we would have had to be to do all of that.
100%. Yeah,
without the technology and stuff that we have. I mean,
I think they had technology. I think they had a different technology.
I think so too.
I think they had to. It's almost time for spring break. So maybe you're headed to the beach, or maybe you're taking the kids on a road trip, or maybe you're just taking some extra time for yourself. No matter what, you deserve a break and a reset, and AG1 can help. AG1 is your daily health drink. Just one scoop combines your multivitamin, pre- and probiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants to help support a healthy immune system and digestion. Plus, it travels really well, so you can start working it into your routine even when you don't have a routine. Just slip a few travel packs into your luggage and have a nice flight. I've talked about AG1 for a long time, and it's not just me. I know a lot of people enjoy it. It's very easy, it's very convenient, and you deserve to take care of your health. Visit drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan, and for a limited time, get a bottle of omega-3 vitamin D3K2 and an AG1 flavor sampler for free in your welcome kit with your first subscription. That's an $111 value at drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. This one particular temple that I'm talking about, Jamie, do you know the temple I'm talking about? The one insanely massive one that's built into the side of a mountain?
Kalisa Temple.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
This is what I meant.
Because
Ajanta,
the precision
Ellora caves.
first of all, there's no like understanding of where the stone went. Like they moved who knows
And
how many.
How did you take out
Right.
all of those tons of rocks?
Yes.
Out of,
it's
like, look at
so insane.
look
The
at the-
precision is spectacular. It's so nuts when you see like videos
How
of people going
huge is
through
that?
it. Immense. Absolutely immense and incredibly precise. And just carved out of a solid piece of stone.
Like,
The
if you
whole thing is carved out of the mountain.
Think about how old that is. Like, this is all BC, before Christ, like thousands and
yeah.
thousands of years
Yeah.
BC. And the history of India, like, hence the diversity. You see, it's one of the oldest civilizations in the world. And then, like, how do you explain that? Look at that image.
So it says it's 12. What does it say? How old did it say it was? Jim?
12
1200.
1200.
How do they know
BC.
that?
That can't be right.
1,200 years old.
Even.
See, there's a lot of just estimates based on what was the civilization at the time.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, this is the thing with Peru, like Sacsayhuaman and a lot of these places where they attribute it to the Incas. But you see, like, traditional Inca structures on top of these immense stones that are 100 tons. They're carved in these weird jigsaw patterns as to absorb the energy if there's an earthquake.
Wow.
Like, it's weird shit. And it's like, okay, well, who did that? So, like, oh, the Incas did it. Like, how? How'd they do that? Because all their other structures are smaller
Different.
stones stacked on top of each other in a way that, like, you could see a person carrying them and cutting them. Makes sense. But there's a lot of stuff like that temple, like, explain to me what you used.
There's no explanation.
Like how? Like just
How did you
metal?
get-
You just use metal and carve that out like that?
And like just a chisel and human.
And if you fuck up once, it's
Yeah.
over. Because you're not putting things on top of things. Like, oh, this block sucks. Let's get a new block. No, you're
Do
carving.
you change the design if there's a fuck up? Like, you know what I mean? If you're trying
That's a
to
good
build
question.
like a human form and you chisel off the nose, like,
Right.
do you turn it into something else? I don't know. Probably. Otherwise, because it's just one piece and you're right, you're not adding
Yeah.
anything to it.
Well, in Egypt, there's indications that they abandoned certain pieces because they cracked. Because when you're dealing with, granite, and
Yeah.
there's certain, specifically, there's a gigantic obelisk that they were carving out. That I mean, I think it was like 1,300 tons, like something bananas. Like, okay, how are you going to move this fucking thing? But they got to a certain point where there was a crack in it, and so they had to abandon it. And so it's
And
still
it's just there?
Yeah, it's still. I think that's in. It might be in Aswan. I'm not sure where it is. But
Do you know, like, the theories around the Egyptian pyramids, obviously? Like, how were those blocks carried up?
there's
and
no valid theory.
how-
Zero.
Was it in that shape and so precisely geometrically,
Well, it's even more complicated now because there's an Italian scientist that we had on recently called
Mm-hmm.
Filippo Biondi. Am I saying it right? Biondi? He's amazing accent, this guy. He's fucking incredible. But he's using, what is it, radio Doppler tomography. So
Wow.
it's a type of satellite imagery that uses some technology to get a vision of what's under the ground. And they've used this successfully to show known caverns in the ground and known pyramids. And they even used it in Italy to show that they can look through a 1.2 kilometer mountain and see underneath it this particle collider and have an exact dimension of the particle collider and see what
Wow.
the outlet. So they used this on the pyramids and they
And?
found these immense structures under the pyramids that go over a kilometer into the ground with massive, these huge 20 meter diameter columns that have these huge circular coils wrapped around them. No one knows what the hell they're looking at, but they're in very precise positions. They've done over 200 scans of these things. They don't know what they are. They don't know what's the purpose of all this, who made this. So if this turns out to be accurate, and they're very confident that it's accurate, and they're starting to look into it deeper, and they're trying to figure out how to get down in there and explore with drones or something. Then the whole thing gets thrown into question because it's preposterous enough that you have someone who's able to cut and place 2,300,000 stones that's
Right.
perfectly aligned to true north, south, east, and west. Some of them weigh as much as 80 tons.
Tons, which is insane.
They come from 500 miles away through the mountains, no roads. Like, how'd you do it? That's crazy.
That's crazy in
but
itself.
if there's structures underneath that go a kilometer into the ground, and there's a giant, a huge square at the bottom. They don't know what it is, but these are structures. They're not like something that is just a naturally occurring stone.
Yeah, it was man-made. And
Show her an image of it. It's fucking kooky.
so what, is that like how...
So these are these columns. This is like what the images are showing you, and the three-dimensional
wild.
replication of what they think is, that's what they think it looks like underneath there. They have no idea what these things are.
What?
There's also, is that Hawara that has that underground labyrinth? They've also found Herodotus wrote about these labyrinths. There's a great channel on YouTube called Uncharted X by this guy Ben Van Kerkwyk, who's been on the podcast before. He's great, and they've used they used ground penetrating radar in that location. They found that these immense labyrinths are real. They're there. They're huge. Herodotus said it's greater than Giza, and it's underground. And in the center of one of these atriums, there is a 40-meter metallic object that's shaped like a Tic Tac. It's in the center of this. Yes. So there's a bunch of shit that they can't explain down there, where you're like, okay, what is this? They also know that a lot of these civilizations, like later versions of it, took from some of the older sites and started building new things or built on top of them, like very disrespectfully. But nobody had an idea of like the importance of history back then. You're just trying to stay alive. And so they found all these stones. Let's use these stones. And
oh my gosh, totally. In India, like when we were colonized, you hear stories of, the British officers telling like little kids that, hey, I'll give you £2, go and get the gold statue from this temple or whatever. And you don't have comprehension of what the value of historical things were, that there was so much that was taken from India in terms of wealth and history and historical artifacts, and the Kohinoor diamond, which is still on the Queen's crown, which came from India. And like so many things.
The Queen of England?
Yeah.
She has a diamond on her crown that she stole from.
Pull it up. Kohinoor diamond. Kohino.
Give it back.
Yeah, we've been asking for it for a minute. We have.
Well, the whole history of England and India is nuts too. That's the diamond.
Yeah.
Whoa! How big is that
crown
sucker?
Of the Queen.
How big is that thing?
How big would that be?
I think it's like 100 carats.
Whoa! What is that worth? What's 100? Well, besides the historical value of it, which is probably priceless, what is 105 carats worth? That's nuts.
A couple
Imagine
of million,
walking around with a rock like that in your hand.
Yeah.
Woo!
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The royalty in India had so much jewelry and wealth and stuff that was pillaged and just taken.
Well, the history of India is fascinating. Like in the Vedic texts and the descriptions of Vimanas. Have you ever read any of that stuff?
Yeah, the Vedas.
Yeah.
Not extensively, but clearly you have.
The Vimanas it's like, what are you talking about? You're talking about flying crafts?
Yeah.
Like, what do you...
That's the thing. You go, if you do a deep dive into the mythology of India and the stories that come from there, the kind of technology that has been mentioned in these ancient texts, like the Vimanas you're saying, you have flying objects, you have spears with some sort of energy, you have bows and arrows with some sort of energy that travels beyond time and light. And there's so much of all of this stuff referenced back then, which maybe humans thought was magic, but was some form of ancient technology, like who's to say? But we do definitely believe in Indian mythology, if you go back into Hinduism and the incredible stories that exist. Like, I love to think about where the origin, like where it must have come from.
Yeah.
But there's so many fascinating stories from then.
Yeah, I have an opinion that most people that were writing things down back then were trying to document a truth.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think they were trying to make up stories.
No, I think it was definitely their truth.
Yeah.
But from our perspective now, we have to be like, how do you break down the truth of, that there was this light that arrived from miles and miles away, and it felt like, I don't know, was it a bomb? Like, what was it?
Right.
What was it of that time?
Right.
So it's cool to kind of try and interpret that. I mean, I believe in the mysticism and the magic of ancient humans and, the beginning of time. There's no way to explain what and how that was. We have the information we do from religious texts and historians of the past, but it's just really fascinating to think about how resilient and human beings have been and how evolutions have had the same problems over time, but we kind of just navigate it through different worlds,
I think it's hard for us to grasp timelines. And and then
Probably
when
impossible. Think about like how short a human lifespan used to be
right.
to where it is now. How our stories have to come from like people telling people stories or documenting them, right?
Right. And those stories, like when you're talking about certain passages in the Bible or certain passages in any religious text, a lot of those were stories that were just handed down for generations and generations before anybody wrote anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, what were they trying to remember? Like when they're talking about flying Vimanas, like what were they talking about? Like what did they experience? And how long ago was it? Because I don't think we have a real understanding of how long ago it is.
I mean, 17,000 BC is where, or around that time, that many years ago is what they say. But again,
That makes
who
sense.
knows?
Well, that makes sense if you take into account
Like 20,000 BC.
There's a guy named Randall Carlson who's been on my podcast a few times, and he's a really fascinating guy. And he's an expert in asteroid collisions with Earth.
Wow.
He's an expert in all of the different times that Earth has been slammed by comets and meteors. And
Is that how the dinosaurs
Yes.
were? So it was
Yes.
an asteroid.
Yeah, they believe so. It was in the Yucatan, that one. That's the 65 billion years ago one. But there's other ones that are before that.
Before that.
Yeah, and then there's other ones that are after that. And
Yeah.
one of the more interesting ones is called the Younger Dryas Impact Theory. And that one's from about 11,800 years ago. And then again, they think somewhere in the 10,000 years that happened. So there's a comet storm that we pass by. I think it's every June and November. I forget what the time is. But this is like also aligns with, do you know about the Tunguska event? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
In the early 1900s, a meteor exploded in the sky above Russia and devastated like 1 million acres of land. And it was during the same time period. And they realized, like, there's this comet storm that we pass through. Like when you see meteor showers during the sky, it's because we're passing through these areas of our solar system that have these comets. This is the Tunguska event. So and to this day, that area has no trees on it.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it just flattened everything. And it didn't even impact the ground. It blew up in the sky above it. And this was not even a big one.
So how does like nothing grow again? Like what?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What is that asteroid made of that you can, like Earth has been able to come back from so much?
Yeah, it's a good question.
That's crazy.
Maybe it's just not enough time. I don't know. I mean, 117 years, maybe eventually.
It needs like a millennia.
But it probably just blew the roots off of everything. It blew
Crazy.
everything into smithereens, and it probably had some kind of chemical effect too, because it's a physical object. I don't know what it was made out of, but some of them are made out of iron, some of them are made out of nickel, like that big one that they saw, 3I Atlas that passed through.
Yeah.
That was
Recently.
a weird one because they're like, this is a nickel alloy that is as big as the size of Manhattan. And the only way we have it on Earth is in industrial manufacturing of an alloy. Wow. But this thing in another planet, somewhere else, millions and millions and millions of years ago was formed under whatever weird circumstances and conditions their planet has.
But I want to know your thoughts on this, but you definitely don't think we're like the only species existing in the universe, right?
I don't think that's possible.
It's human arrogance if we think we do.
Yeah, that seems silly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's
it's
just too many
impossible.
planets. It's a silly thing to think. And they've found evidence of life on Mars. They've found evidence of some sort of bacterial life on Mars, like the traces of bacterial life. And that's, right there.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's just within our Milky Way that we haven't even been able to travel outside of that yet, to get information. But there has to be other species that exist and other like intelligence and technology.
Do you know the actor Terrence Howard?
I mean, I know of him.
Fascinating guy.
Okay.
Like a little kooky, but super smart. Like super smart. He's got some wild ideas. One of his ideas, I was like, wait, what? He thinks that life occurs when planets get a certain distance from their sun. And then over time, they get too far out, and then life doesn't exist on those planets anymore. But when they're in this Goldilocks zone like Earth is for a long period of time in relative to our life exists, and then intelligent life emerges and figures out, hey, we got to get out of here eventually because this is not going to sustain us. And then it propagates the world, or the universe rather. And he thinks that there's a thing that happens, and he calls it peopling. He thinks that when a planet gets further enough from the sun, that it eventually peoples, because it eventually reaches the right conditions where life emerges and evolution takes place and natural selection and random mutation, all these things converge, and eventually you get an intelligent creature that knows how to manipulate its environment. And
Is there any proof of planets like moving away from their sun?
Well, they all do, slowly. Very slowly.
Like, so even
Yeah.
even our solar system, we're all like slowly.
Yeah, and also the sun is eventually going to burn out and explode, and then we're fucked. But that's a long time from now. But eventually,
There's enough shit
Yeah.
to be worried about.
nothing's permanent. Like suns are not, and we're lucky. We have a slow burn sun, so we have a relatively small sun, and it's There's a lot of weird speculation that it's part of a binary solar system too, that there might have been another version of our sun that burned out, that's like way out there, like way out in space, like way past Pluto, way out there.
I'd buy that.
It's possible. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of wacky theories as to why there seems to be some large object that's outside of our vision that's way past Pluto. So there's a thing called the Kuiper Belt that's outside of Pluto, and that's one part of what Pluto is, which is why they decided it's not really a planet anymore.
Yeah.
But they think there's something else out there that's a large. They call it Planet X. They think there's. It's a lot of like weird speculation whether or not it's real, but they think there might be a large body, larger than Earth, like Jupiter size or something, like way out there, and it might be a sun. It might be a burnt out
Like
sun.
a burnt out sun that was
Just crazy.
insane.
Well, Earth alone, like Earth, the reason why we have the moon supposedly is because Earth was hit by another planet. There's Earth.
So was the
1.
moon part of the Earth?
The moon was like a big chunk of that collision that burst off and then became the moon. So there's Earth 1 and
So does
Earth
that
2.
happen with all the planets? Like, because all the planets that have their own moons are explosions, maybe?
This is a good question. I mean, maybe some of
Like
them
Jupiter
are
and Saturn have
enormous
multiple-
asteroids that got caught in the gravity, and maybe of them. Maybe it's volcanic activity. I don't know. I think a lot of it's asteroid impacts too. They knock off giant chunks, and those chunks start orbiting that planet.
So does that mean that all of those planets do have like a gravitational pull as well?
Oh yeah, they all
right?
have pull. Yeah,
Like how strong would that gravitational pull be?
It depends on the mass of the planet.
Like Jupiter, for example. With
Jupiter
the
is
amount
what
of...
protects us. The reason why we don't get hit a lot is because Jupiter's so big. So
Because it
Jupiter
keeps-
has so much mass and so much gravity that it's like our big brother that like protects us.
Oh, thanks, Jupiter.
For real.
Yeah,
Like-
no, that's great.
And they
Good to know.
actually observed an impact on Jupiter. I want to say it was in the 1980s, where an enormous asteroid slammed into Jupiter and created a Earth-sized explosion. An explosion
Which
is
separated from...
no, it just got absorbed.
But-
It Jupiter just absorbed it, but they watched it in real time.
Oh,
And it was a way bigger explosion than they thought it was going to be. They're like, yo. So then they have to like recalculate, like, oh, how big was that thing? And it made a literal impact as large as the Earth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to see that video.
Well, that's the solar
crazy.
system is just a fucking shooting gallery, which
it
brings us back. Which brings us back to this
is.
younger dryas impact theory, which is one of the predominant theories as to why ancient, super advanced civilizations completely disappeared and there's no evidence of them. And there's a lot of physical evidence. When they do core samples of the Earth, they find there's a lot of iridium, which is very common in space but very rare on Earth, which indicates some sort of an impact.
Wow.
And then they also find micro diamonds, these nuclear diamonds. I think they call it trinitite. And they first observed this when they did the Trinity explosion. So the nuclear explosion created these micro diamonds on the ground, just a massive impact and explosion, heat and energy. Well, they find those littered all throughout the world in this same core sample timeline of like 11,800 years. So they think we were just bombarded. So a lot of these things, like these temples in India, perhaps the pyramids, some structures that were stone, probably just survived.
No, for sure. There's
And-
so much that has survived, I think, from like a timeline we
Yeah.
can't even explain. I mean, in India, we see so much of it. So many of our texts, the Vedas are, the oldest texts in the world. And to be able to like read stories, which now maybe we imagine are stories, but are probably reality of a civilization gone by,
Yes.
is just crazy to think about.
I think more likely than not.
Yeah.
And I think more and more over time, people are opening up to this possibility. Like they recently just found written language that is 28,000 years old. And that they thought that human written language was created about 6,000 years ago. And they found evidence
I
of
did read
language.
about this.
So they're like, okay, that's a giant difference.
But how can we also know what happened in so many parts of the earth when anyway the earth was moving, right? Like the continents, what it looks
Right.
like right now is not what it probably looked like 20,000 years ago. Like it's been slowly moving. I feel like how are we supposed to know, like someone who writes a book, say in Mexico, like what happened then in Australia, or what was the history in like India, you know what I mean?
Right. Especially the
That many,
1500s,
yeah,
1600s.
years ago.
When they were writing about stuff back then, they were just making shit up.
So the shit that we
Here it is.
read,
Human may have used these mysterious symbols to encode information tens of thousands of years before the first writing systems. 40,000-year-old artifacts. Yeah. So it's some kind of way of documenting
of
things.
communicating.
If these people like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson are correct, there was some sort of a very, very advanced civilization pre-11,800 years ago. And this also coincides with the end of the Ice Age. It coincides with all of the ice caps over North America disappearing. Like North America was covered, like 3/4 of North America was covered in like a
Ice.
mile-high sheet of ice. Went away like that. That's why the Great Lakes exist. The Great Lakes are just that ice melted. And then whatever was left just ran through the country. And you can see the physical evidence of it when they show satellite images. It looks like enormous amounts of water just destroyed the landscape and completely carved it and changed it.
What do you think happened with, and I wonder if you have, because you have so much extensive knowledge with the amazing guests that you have on the show, how did we go from Neanderthal or early man to this technology-driven, like really smart, intelligent, like what happened in history, in the evolution of human beings that we were able to make that switch so quick?
It's a real good question. There's a lot of,
I mean, I've heard theories, but I want to know yours.
if I didn't worry at all about being ridiculous, and I don't, I would.
You don't. There was no need for that precursor.
But if I didn't worry about
You don't
that, I
care.
would say something helped us. I
That's
think,
what I think.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense that that didn't take place.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how that happened and how quickly it happened.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of like weird stuff with us. Also, all those other primates are still around, except the early man ones. That's what's weird. It's like, why aren't, how come chimpanzees are kind of the same? How come all these other primates are kind of the same? And yet we need clothes to stay warm.
Yeah, like a mammoth
now.
to an
Yeah.
elephant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like still similar.
Yeah, it makes sense.
How do we have like planes, and why do we like things, and how could we make cups and
Yeah, why do we change our environment that
Headphones
way?
and-
Why do we have this insatiable desire to innovate? Insatiable. Like that's the number one thing that we
constantly
do.
changing?
Constantly making new and better things. Never satisfied with anything new. Everything has to be better. It doesn't matter how good your car is. What's the next year's model going to
Yeah.
do? No matter what your phone does. I want better pictures, bitch. Like no matter what, it's just always like we want something to be better all the time, and
We
it's
can
like
one up what we had.
But
What is that?
I think it's built into us. And I think that is a part of this process of becoming a human being. And I think it's leading us to develop AI. That's what I really think. But I think we most likely something intervened. Now, there's a lot of people that think, the rational people think that it was the invention of fire and the cooking of food that gave us better access to nutrition and protein, and then innovating in order to hunt allowed the brain.
But it was such an accelerated period of time. It went like so quickly.
The human brain size doubled over a period of 2 million years, which is the greatest mystery in the entire
That's
fossil
crazy.
record. Yeah.
Like, what made that happen?
We don't know. But in religious texts, ancient
Yeah.
religious texts, there's many stories of human beings breeding with something from somewhere else. That's a part of
Alien intervention.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Without
some
trying to sound ridiculous. Don't come at me,
hyper
please.
intelligent life form. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, if
I was watching a show about that, and I was like, that makes sense.
what was the show you were watching? Do you remember?
Ancient aliens.
That show's the best. It's so silly.
It's amazing.
There's a
But I was at like 2 a.m. I'm like, oh.
my friend Action Bronson. He used to do a show. He doesn't do that show anymore, does he? They would get super baked and watch Ancient Aliens and be like, bro.
Listen, Ancient Aliens is rad. I love
Yes.
that show at 2 a.m.
Oh, it's fun. It's very fun. I think they're right about some of those things. I think there's something to it. I mean, that is one of the oldest biblical texts that wasn't included in the canon that is the Bible is the Book of Enoch. And I had Anna Paulina Luna on the podcast, and she brought that up, and I was like, she was like, you really should read that. So I read it, and you start reading, you're like, wait, what the hell are they talking about? The Watchers came down from the sky to mate with humans and created the Nephilim, a race of giants that destroyed the earth. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, what is this? This is in the Bible, and it would have been in the Bible if it not for a few rabbis that decided this doesn't jive with the Torah. And so they say, we got to get that out of there. And that's why it's not taught along with the book of Ezekiel and all these other things that are in the Old Testament.
Wow. Versus like in Hindu mythology also, we read about a time where God, human, and demon existed at the same time and procreated. And like created different realms and life and stories
Yeah.
and the so it's like when you think about stories like that, stories, beliefs, from around the world that have similar sort of color,
Yeah.
it's almost like trying to connect the dots of what must have happened at that time, all around the world. It was
Yeah.
probably the same thing, some
Yeah.
sort of incredible technology.
Yeah. And and a lot of them have these stories of something of some kind of higher nature, higher power, higher technology intervening in the lives of human beings and even manipulating the process.
Yeah, but
of
isn't that
evolution.
what I think was referred to as the gods? then?
Yes.
Like if you think about the Roman, or Egyptian, like gods. I'm not one to speak about culture, but I can't even say about ours. But that power that we read about, that like if you go into it, I'm a big believer. So I think that was that like a real experience that happened to a human being at
Probably
that time?
a real experience with someone that had a limited vocabulary, a limited amount of knowledge, and a limited ability to write things down. And so
Yeah.
they probably told these stories from whatever words they could use to describe what this was. Like if you were living 30,000 years ago, 40,000 years ago, and a UFO landed, a
Yeah.
giant metallic disc landed, and little tiny creatures came out and talked to you telepathically. You don't have a written language. You don't. Your
How do
culture is
you
hunter-gatherers. Like, how do you
tell
even,
that story?
How do you tell that story? And what are the people that you told that story to going to tell their children and their grandchildren for many, 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 many generations before anybody figures out how to write things down?
Totally. But another perspective on this, which people have, is that our pragmatic, practical 2026 human trying to explain something that was magical and did exist at a time that we don't have an explanation for.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Like, there's the other side of that with people that, you hear so many stories of visitations from the gods back then, to humans and the divinity of, at least in my country for sure, of different avatars of gods coming down to earth to save humankind and
Yeah.
to help in human salvation and to help them against evil. So when you hear of those stories, like the practical side of me was like, are those human stories? And who is that power that they were seeing at that time? And then there's the side of you which is like, there's so much we can't explain, and sometimes have to like leave it to inexplicable magic of the universe. Like, I'm someone who loves science, but I also am a believer of that it just can't explain everything.
Well, even science itself, like hardcore materialist science,
Totally.
if you're trying to explain the Big Bang, good fucking luck. Good fucking luck
Yeah.
making sense out of something smaller than the head of a pin that became everything that's in the universe. Okay,
Like, explain that to me.
help me out.
Totally.
They can't.
That's how
There's-
it's,
I mean, it's all theoretical and
Yeah.
speculative, and it's, that no one really knows. And then there's this concept of what took place before the Big Bang. And then there's Sir Roger Penrose's version of it, which is there's been many versions of the Big Bang, expansion, then contraction, and that it's not the beginning, that it's a part of an endless cycle.
that's what I've heard from in India as well, the belief that that was not kind of the beginning. There's been many beginnings and many ends that
That
we
makes
have
more
no
sense.
idea of.
That makes
You
more
know.
sense to me. It makes more sense because I think the problem with a beginning, we like, well, what was here originally? We always want to think of things in terms of our own biological limitations. We have a birth and we have a death. So we think that the universe probably
Everything
had a birth.
has a limitation.
Right.
Yeah.
But why? It's there. It's so
Like time. What is
Yeah.
time's limitation? It's
What-
existed from who knows when.
Right. It's constant. It's never not been here.
Yeah.
So the idea that there was nothing before the universe, well, that doesn't even make sense.
It's funny, when I was doing research for The Bluff, this movie, I went to the Cayman Islands for a couple of days to get an understanding of the history of the islands. And the Caribbean is so interesting, especially Cayman, because it's in the middle of these trading routes between Honduras, Cuba, Mexico. So ships, when trading started, is when the Cayman was discovered. The islands were discovered. So when I went down there, I went to the museum, and they said, yeah, it was like the 1700s or 1800s when the first settlers came. And, it started with family or like people trying to run away, or pirates, or, just people making pit stops before going to another country. And they said that was the first time that there was any history of the island. And I was like, how's that possible? That only when like settlers found that place, and now, Cayman Islands.
Right.
But how, like, if you think about, there's so many places in the world where people and humans have existed way before we even have an understanding of or are willing to acknowledge. In many cultures,
Sure.
it's different.
Yeah.
But
Or
it's,
we just lost the history of it. That's possible too.
that's what my argument was. I was like,
Yeah.
it's, like, we have to have lost the history of what happened prior.
There's an entire culture from South America that we don't know who they were, the Olmecs. We have some
Really?
giant carved heads, and we're like, oh, who did that? They think
Where
it's
did
like
that come from?
they're thousands and thousands of years old. They look African. It's very strange.
Wow.
Have you ever seen
I
Olmec
haven't.
heads? Oh, here,
Can you
they
show
look,
me?
they look like this. That's an Olmec head. Like, how nuts is that? Like, that's a replica of these enormous heads that are in, I think, is it Peru? Luke
I really wanna go
Caverns,
to Peru.
who's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's a really fascinating guy who does a lot of research down there. He's been there and documented, and he's like, they don't know who these people were. They don't know what their language was. They don't even know what they looked like, except for these images. And they don't even know if these images are supposed to be of them, like these statues. They just see if you can find some of these heads so you can see like the scale
So
of
crazy.
them. So they left these enormous stone heads. They attributed to this one civilization that they call the Olmecs. They just made a name up.
Right.
But they don't know who the hell these people were. And look at their faces. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And do you know how old these might be?
They don't really know, but I think that how many thousands of
And they were
years
just-
old do they think they are, Jamie? Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So at least
900
900 BC.
BC.
But, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's a guess. That's a guess.
But,
Because they
like,
don't
a
know
long
anything.
time ago,
A
before
long
BC.
time ago.
Wow.
Well, even the Aztecs. Do you know the Aztecs didn't build those temples? They found them.
The Aztecs found that,
They
the
found
Aztec
them.
temples?
They found them from an unknown previous civilization.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they call those temples the place where the gods were born.
Yeah.
That's what they call
Wow.
them. And they just kind of like cleaned it up. Which kind of makes sense because you think of like how barbaric the Aztecs were. Like they did some horrific shit. Like we were talking about one of the temples, I think it was Tenochtitlan, when they consecrated it, they killed between 20 and 80,000 people. They sacrificed them in a period of 4 days. And so this is like right when the Spanish were first visiting Mexico, thinking about taking over, and this guy Diaz, this Spanish chronicler, said it was the fucking craziest thing. They killed 80,000 people, he said, over a period of 4 days. Just cut their hearts out and threw their bodies down the stairs. Like nuts. This episode is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. April 15th is coming fast. There's been so many tax law changes this year, which means you're going to need an expert who has your back. You're in luck. TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. Walk into their tech-enabled stores and meet face-to-face with a TurboTax full-service expert who will get your best outcome. Your expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while updating you as you go about your day. Head to TurboTax.com to find a store near you. Like, so these are the people that
Yeah, you
were,
think about like how countries were like conquests happen, and like, you know, we're living in the history of so many people's blood and sacrifices. It's,
and violence.
And
An
so much violence.
unfathomable
how are
amount of
humans
violence.
so capable of that kind of of violence?
I
Having
think-
done a really violent movie right now.
Because chimps. Because we're mostly chimp.
Hmm.
And I think if you pay attention to chimps, like have you ever
Chimp
seen
behavior, yeah.
Chimp Nation on Netflix?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I wanna see it.
Fantastic. It's spectacular because it is a very rare situation where this one particular group of chimpanzees, they were embedded with these scientists for 20 years. So the scientists had very specific rules. Don't get within 20 yards of them. Don't make eye contact with them. Don't have any food with you.
Okay.
And don't interfere. And they're totally accustomed to having people around them, so they behave totally naturally.
Yeah.
And so they wage war. They have all these like crazy social dynamics.
So they
that they
behave
observe.
like they would in the wild because they're
Exactly.
used to these humans.
Exactly. And when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, they are a lot like us. They're a lot like us. Just like very primitive, no language, but ultra violent. Chimps are ultra violent. I mean, one of their favorite foods, this guy was telling me, was monkeys. They just love eating monkeys. He goes, we saw them kill so many monkeys, we couldn't even document it.
Oh
He
my
goes, because if it would
God.
just be like, every day was like a monkey hunt. They would tear these monkeys apart and eat them alive. It's horrific.
Oh, my God.
That's our ancestors. So what we are is a combination. Like if you can,
Well, that explains it.
yeah, as explains it. We're a combination of some higher intelligence that interbred with a savage primate that's curious and created this weird hybrid, this weird thing.
Listen,
that-
that's what ancient aliens told me.
yeah.
And I believe it.
I think they're right. They're right about that. Have you ever seen Chariots of the Gods?
No.
That's the original one. Eric Von Daniken. That was in like the 1970s. It was a movie, like a feature movie.
No, I mean, I remember the movie, but I don't remember having seen it.
Yeah. I had lunch with him once. Got a chance to question him about stuff. He's like a true believer.
Yeah, what
Like
does
a
he
true
believe?
believer.
What are his beliefs?
Well, he believes that everything is from aliens. That aliens came down and aliens taught people how to do things and aliens built all these things. And I'm more in line of they intervened and created what we think of now as humans, and then humans figured out a different path of technology than we're on today. That we are on the path of internal combustion engines, electronics, electricity, and they were probably on some different path of technology, but as far down the path, if not more. And I think they probably had figured out some things that we have yet to figure out, including like the transferring and the moving and shipping of enormous stone blocks without
Yeah.
heavy machinery. Like, we don't know what they were doing.
Teleportation.
Yeah, what
I
did
don't
they?
know.
How do they
Yeah.
cut them? Like, what if those structures that Filippo Biondi describes underneath, if that's real, like what was the pyramid then?
And
was it a machine?
Yeah, how did they do, like first they created the structure, like imagine the foundation and the design that went into it.
A half a mile deep into
crazy.
the earth.
Crazy.
Like, what is that? What are you doing?
Because I'm saying, I don't know if I just know that we can't explain that quick evolution
Right.
of humans from Neanderthal to
We can't. And all,
highly intelligent.
yes, we can't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of people saying, well, we haven't filled in the gaps yet.
Yeah.
We don't really know. But the acceleration of the evolution is so spectacular. Like, vegans are hilarious. They attribute it to people eating tubers. I had a conversation with a guy. He's like, we're thinking it's probably tubers. Like, what, roots? You mean like bears eat? Shut the fuck up. That is the dumbest explanation. That didn't even make any sense.
I'm vegan.
Are you really?
No, I'm joking.
Congratulations.
No, I'm not.
There's no way you could be.
I just had
You would
barbecue
already fall asleep.
for breakfast. I had brisket. I was like, I'm here in Austin for 2 hours.
Yeah, you have to have barbecue if you come here.
Yeah.
I just think that whatever happened, we don't know. And I would not rule out intervention. And I wouldn't think that an intelligent species from somewhere else, if they did find these very curious primates that may already be working with sticks and rocks and stuff like that, that they wouldn't intervene because we do it. We're doing it right now. We're doing it
We would
right now with
definitely-
animals.
It's human nature to do it.
If we went to a
Yeah.
planet somewhere and we found some fucking frogs or some weird animals, but nothing big, we might drop a deer off in there and see what happens. You know, we might bring some birds in. Look,
Humans definitely would. We would intervene.
they're doing genetic manipulation of animals right now to bring back extinct life. That's how they brought back the dire wolf. This company called Colossal Bioworks. I saw it. I touched it. I went to yes. I went to the place where they're holding these wolves, and me and my daughter got to cuddle with a baby dire wolf. They had 2 semi-adults at the time. I think they were like 8 or 9
And
months
they've
old.
been extinct since when?
10,000 years?
Stop it.
Yeah. Somewhere in the range of that. I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah. When did dire wolves go extinct? I think they were part of the megafauna that went extinct during the impact, because 65% of all megafauna on Earth, and particularly in North America, went extinct around the same time. Woolly mammoths.
And do we know why? Around the same
don't.
time?
There's a lot of
Was there something
hypotheses.
that happened then?
The rational people, not me, but the rational people think it was the berserker theory, which means that human beings killed so many mammoths that we wiped them out to extinction. But
Believable.
this is with atlatls. Like, it
Right.
doesn't make total sense.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like, how did you get... There's not even that many people. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
And then there's also stuff like the American lion, which was bigger than the African lion.
Yeah.
How do we kill that off with a fucking stick? Like, shut the fuck up.
Something
Something
had
big.
to have happened.
Well, they found
Geolog-
mass grave sites of mammoths where there's like hundreds of them dead all in one place that seem to have died at the same time. Not only that, some of them have broken legs. It seems to impact some. It seems to
Yeah,
indicate
so it had
some
to have
great
been like
impact.
some
Yeah.
like asteroid or something that created
Yeah.
that kind of impact immediately.
But 65% of all North American megafauna died at the same time.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, within a time period. And they think the younger dry ice impact theory people think like this is not a coincidence that this coincides with the end of the ice age and also coincides with where the core samples
Too many
indicate we were hit.
coincidences.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also coincides with the fact that these animals were all here at one point in time. They all got wiped out except a very few. There's only a few left. Like there's the pronghorn antelope, which is a really weird one. It's this prehistoric antelope that lives in North America, and it's different than every other animal here because it's evolved to get away from cheetahs. Because we used to have cheetahs in North America. So it can run like 55
Wow.
miles. It fucking books.
Wow.
I've seen them in real life. They're really weird looking. They look prehistoric.
But can run.
They fly. That's what it
Wow.
looks like. See if you can get a look at its face. When you see it head on, they're so strange. Like their eyeballs are on the sides of their heads because something was coming at them, like, 55 miles an hour at full clip. And so they're really, really alert. And they have incredible vision.
Wow.
And that's a leftover animal. That's a leftover animal from a time where they were being preyed upon by something that doesn't exist anymore. And that something was wiped out along with the American lion a bigger lion than the African lion lived right here.
Huge.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
huge.
I was filming in Africa recently in Kenya, and for this Indian movie I'm doing called Varanasi, and we shot with wildebeests, and like, as in like in the middle of them. Me and my co-actor Mahesh were in the middle of these wildebeests that were all around us while they were migrating. It's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. But when you see their faces and for how many years versions of them have existed, you feel the gravity when you see these animals
In the wild.
In the wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so much different than a zoo, right?
Oh, completely.
Because you're like, oh, they've always been here like this.
Yeah,
Like,
this is their home.
This is what they do.
We're in it. You feel
Yeah.
a sense of like, stay in your Jeep.
Well, I think we're numb to it because we watch it on film, and so that we get sort of desensitized and normalized to this idea of wildlife. Oh, there's the lion sneaking up on the wildebeest. How cool.
Yeah.
But when you're there and you see a lion, you see a wildebeest, like, this is fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah.
this is all day long, every day, these life forms competing to try to exist and
To
stay
survive.
alive.
That's
and there's
it,
this
like-
weird balance where all of them,
They still exist.
Yeah.
There'll be wildebeest right there, and there'll be a lion right here who's eaten. So they're hanging out together. The wildebeest knows that he's eaten. He's not coming after us, and they exist. But at the same time, during hunting season, you see the hunt happen, and I saw a hunt happen, and that's crazy that's their life.
Yeah.
Survival.
With their face. They
Yeah.
kill things with their face.
Yeah, like literally,
Well, there's
crazy.
a really extraordinary island in Africa where the river changed courses and it left this one pack of lions on this one island that only has water buffalo on it. And so these lions became enormous. And the female lions are as big as male lions everywhere else. And the male lions are way bigger than they are anywhere else. I think there's the documentary, I think it's called Relentless Enemies. But it's
Wow.
because they look like these jacked bodybuilder lions.
those
'cause
water buffaloes are huge.
and
I had one staring
hyper-aggressive.
at me, like we were in Kenya. Like the video village is sitting, we're filming, and it's far away, but it just turned his head and just looked at me and then just kept looking at me. And I swear I had to like get up and get out of its view because it just kept staring.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
wanna
it's
get
coming
out
at
of its
me.
view. They
It's
will
gonna-
come at you.
Yeah, for sure.
They kill people.
The
all
rangers
time.
told us. They were like, oh, I think he's engaged with you, maybe. Maybe get out of here, get into your car.
Yeah, there's that poor lady she was a video editor on the Game of Thrones, and she went to do a safari there, and one of the lions pulled her out of her car.
Out of her car?
Yeah, she rolled the window down, or someone rolled the window down, and a female lion just snatched her out of the car and killed her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
have
not,
to listen to your rangers
yeah,
when you're
listen.
in these situations.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, she wanted a better picture or something. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
what
the shit that gets
circumstances.
people into trouble.
Oh yeah.
Like there was one of our rangers was telling us a story that we were in Masai Mara, and they were like, they have open jeeps, and you have food that they keep really hidden so that the animals can't smell it under your seats and stuff. And he was telling us a story about this influencer. He's driving, and there's a pack of lions just eaten, so he's sleeping. And this influencer who puts his hand outside to try and touch the lion's head and got it on video and survived to tell the story. And then he was banned, and then the ranger was like fired from his job, and all of that happened. But for the image, can
What
you
a
imagine?
fucking idiot.
What
All for the gram.
my gosh, that was crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, but when someone does something like that and does get killed, it's probably better. Educationally for the human race. Like, don't.
But is it though, or are we really learning from other people and their examples?
Some people aren't learning shit.
Nobody's learning shit. We're just trying to put the best versions of ourselves on the gram. Like that's what's happening right now. It's whether
Well-
it's true or not.
Yeah. But are we learning? Yeah, it's a good question.
I don't know. I mean, I think we are also so desensitized to there's so much information that comes your way and misinformation now. Where being able to discern what's real and what's not now, that's hard as well.
Oh, it's harder than it's ever been.
Totally. And then if you do watch something and you're like, I'm going to implement in my life, we do it for a very short duration. Very few of us follow through with that, right? Like you're watching a reel or somebody says something and you're like, that's really cool. Are we going to pull on that thread and follow through and do something about it or learn from it? I don't know. I feel like we've lost a lot of that space where we had the time or the desire to want to, fulfill ourselves versus just that with so much coming at you.
Well, I
have to
think
be able to-
collectively as a society, I think we learn and then we forget and then we have to relearn again.
Yeah.
That's
But
certainly
the
the
attention
case.
span now, where, I remember when I was growing up, like just having the languidity of time, right? In a very different way. And this is like, say 30 years ago, 35 years ago, of, reading a book, music playing, hanging out with your parents or your friends without being rushed. Just rushed. I don't remember feeling as rushed as I do now in the last 20 years when I was growing up. Like there was time for stuff.
Yeah. Well, certainly the internet has accelerated that, and certainly people's attention spans are at least pulled in the direction of short attention span content. But at the same time, podcasts have emerged, which is interesting.
It's so interesting. Like I was talking about this to a friend of mine, like people who have no time or interest in wanting to commit to like say a movie or will watch or listen to like a podcast for
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours. And for someone like me who, like I've been an actor for most of my life, my interface with people would be, an interview, say, for example, people who knew me or audiences that wanted to know about me would be an interview where, the highlights are really what you read. The clickbait lines are really what you read. And you form a relationship with whoever this public person is based on those few lines versus this format where you're just chatting for a few hours and you have the ability to really be yourself and be seen as yourself, which is why I think people really love podcasts.
Well, I think it's much more illuminating in terms
Yeah.
of if you want to like find out who a person really is.
Yeah.
Because you can't really hide for 3 hours. Like that's who you are. And I
Yeah.
think for most people, that's scary, right? And so what they like about those fake shows like Good Morning America or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like you're sitting down, the guy's got a piece of paper, so he's got a
Yeah.
few questions he's going to ask you, and they're all going to be like very surface, very jovial. What's it like to be married? What's it like to do this? What's it like to do that? So you had a baby. Congratulations. That kind of shit. And then you're out of there. It's 10 minutes, and you're like, oh, that went well. And then nobody knows anything about you.
It's true that you're just basically known by the top 4 questions that everybody
Yeah.
asks you. So
Yeah.
it's like the same 4 questions that everybody asks.
Right.
And
And it's what was it like to work with this person? What was
Yeah.
she like in person? What was he like?
For me, mostly it's like a lot about my family. Like it's like that my identity starts there, and
Right.
then everything else comes after.
Well, you're fascinating in that you've done movies in 2 different cultures. So, like, I wanted to ask you about that. Like,
Yeah.
what is the Bollywood scene like? Because I wasn't even aware of it until like 20 years ago. I didn't know that like Bollywood is like this enormous, like the amount of films that are produced in India is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
It's a big business,
huge.
huge.
100 and something years of Indian cinema just recently. So a very, very old industry. We started with silent movies and have worked our way now to, and that's not just Bollywood. I'll break that down in a second. Because India is so diverse and we have so many different languages, again, excuse me, I didn't know the exact number, but we have local industries that make movies in those languages. So Bollywood is Bombay. It comes from Bombay. I think that's why it was coined that name from Hollywood, but the Bombay movie industry, again, it was not us that did that. It was a name that was given to us. I don't know by who. But Bollywood is the Hindi language industry, which exists in Mumbai, which is like LA. It's huge. It's, we make thousands and thousands of movies. But then there's also Telugu, Tamil, Punjabi, Malayalam, Marathi, Bhojpuri. These are all robust industries that are localized within every state that also exist. So cumulatively, we make thousands and thousands of movies a year, but it's catered to very, very different audiences within the diversity of India.
Wow. And how many people have come from India like you and become stars in Western movies?
I think there have been a few before me, that have
You're
done
the first
work.
one I heard of. So no one's made it to me yet.
Well, thank you. Yes, I think that it's been few and far in between. I think America is a really hard country to break into, to be relevant in. It's tough. And also, I think Hollywood controls a large part of the global entertainment business. So as an actor from anywhere in the world, if you want to break into the English language, global entertainment, Hollywood system, it's not easy to do that. Culturally it's different, language is different, jokes are different. So that's a tough transition, but it's also for me, I went to high school. Oh, by the way, you went to Newton and I went to Newton too.
Did you really?
I went to Newton North, you went to Newton South.
Yeah,
How
that's
crazy
funny.
is that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
Small
I was
world.
in high school in the States, and so it wasn't alien to me. It's not like I was in India and I was I want to go to America and start working there. I really wanted to see what it would be like if I came down here. Would there be an opportunity for someone like me to, be able to create an impact? And many years later, I feel like, I'm on my way there. But there have been so many actors whose shoulders I've stood on. So Indian casting in English language entertainment, whether it was Hollywood or, British entertainment, wherever, was usually by us seen as, a diversity check. So it was mostly a stereotypical actor or a stereotypical character with an actor having to speak in the accent or having to
Right.
do the
Work at 7-Eleven.
be a little bit more Indian. What does that even mean?
Did someone tell you that?
I was told in an audition, I think we needed the character to be a little bit more Indian. And I just didn't even understand why. There's so many versions of that, but I think what this person meant was have a little bit more of the accent.
Yeah,
and
be a
speak little bit-
caricature.
Yeah, be the character, which was really tough to break out of. So, at a time when it was only that work that existed in Hollywood, those are the actors whose shoulders I stand on. Those were the ones that went in and did that work because that was all that was available, and, tried to break through, especially from India, for example. Aishwarya Rai, Amitabh Bachchan, Irfan Khan, there have been actors that have come in, done work, and, left an amazing mark. But I moved here. I live here now. And, I'm consistently working here. I think that also may have been a part of why you've heard of me.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, I've seen you interviewed too, which is why I thought you were interesting. But
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. But it's,
I think you're very interesting. I think your knowledge of the world is fascinating to me.
well, it's all accidental.
Cool. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's cool.
That's amazing.
I started this thing out with my friend Brian and a laptop. We were just talking shit. We just thought it'd be fun to do a little internet
Wow.
thing.
How inspiring.
And that was 16 years ago.
You're someone who's pivoted your career so many times too, though.
Sort of, but it's all the same thing in that I've only just done things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Other than Fear Factor.
Yeah.
That was just a job.
I also hosted Fear Factor.
Did you? No.
Yes,
Shut up.
For 1 year.
Really?
I did.
Where?
In Brazil. In India.
Shut the fuck up.
Fear
That's
Factor, India.
crazy.
And we shot it in Brazil, in Rio.
Wow. That's nuts.
We have
Where
such
did it air?
random things in common.
That is crazy. That's a crazy thing in common. I need to
Yeah.
see that. Let me see that. Find a clip. This is hilarious.
Fear
What language
Factor,
did you do it
Hindi.
in? Wow. And
Fear
it was
Factor,
in Rio,
India.
huh?
We shot it in Rio. We had a big budget that year.
What?
So we were all flown out
So
to
it's Fear
Brazil.
Factor India. I wonder how many versions of Fear Factor there were.
I mean, they're all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, Fear Factor used to exist all over. I don't know anymore, but back
Once
in
I
the day.
stopped doing it, I stopped paying attention. I was like, I'm out.
Me too.
So
but it was,
I knew Ludacris took it over at one point in time, and
Yeah.
now Johnny Knoxville's doing it. That's all I knew. I had no idea that there was a
all
bunch of different
over the
language
world.
versions of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know, it originally came from a Holland show called Now or Neverland.
It's a crazy show.
Yeah. It was way more simple. And then when it got brought to America, they decided to call it Fear Factor.
The whole eating thing, we didn't take that back to India.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't do the eating. Like, because you never know, people are vegetarian. Not in India, it's a big part of our
right.
culture,
Right,
where a lot of
right,
people
right.
religiously are vegetarian or not.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the reason, but there was not a lot of like eat the worms and stuff, which I was very grateful for. It was a lot more, a cliff and falling off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was this one which was crazy. This 16-wheeler, which was driving at 60 miles an hour, and everyone had to take their vehicle underneath it
Oh,
and come
yeah.
out, and underneath it and come out.
Yikes.
It was insane.
That's crazy.
I didn't have to do it, which was great because I was just hosting.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff where I was like, we barely got through that without killing somebody.
Yeah, and
There
the
was a
death
bunch of them.
waivers.
Yeah.
Like everyone had to sign a death waiver.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, why would you do a show where you have to sign a death waiver?
Yeah, and you can only win like $50,000,
Yeah.
and you might not win. You're probably not going to win. There's a
you
bunch
might
of other
get
people on the
hurt.
show, and you could very easily get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people want to be famous.
So it
They
was
want to be on
crazy.
TV. They're like, I want to be on TV. Yeah. Once it became popular and successful, it was really easy to get people to do it too. Everybody wanted to sign up.
But I mean, there are like protective measures, obviously. But
A little. We made them ride bulls.
we did too. We put people on bulls.
Yeah.
And there were a few that were like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm out.
I told people not to do it. When I was talking to them off camera, I
That
said,
was
don't do it. I
insane.
wouldn't do it. Don't do it.
I would never do it.
No way.
But people
Fuck
did it.
that. Look at you. What year was this?
Please, I can't
Look
even
at you. It
remember.
even looks like a Fear Factor scene.
It is. I was on a helicopter.
So, do you know what year this was?
Oh, I can't. Did it say that?
This didn't say. I don't know. I could check, but
Wow, Rio. I've been to that.
I
The
stood
giant
outside the
cheeses.
helicopter as well. It was some fun
Rio's
stuff to do.
amazing. Wow, that's crazy. That
You
is
and
so
me.
funny. It's just like Fear Factor. It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's totally
Everyone's
Fear
standing there.
Factor.
So what did you guys do for the second stunt if you didn't do a gross thing? You just did a second scary
We did like
thing?
scary things mostly.
Oh, wow. Well, it's probably better, honestly.
I mean, there were gross things too. Like there's Brazilian, red-eyed deviled rats that were put all over you with like
Oh,
tongue and eyeballs and stuff, but you didn't have to consume it.
right.
It was on you. You
Yeah.
didn't have to eat it.
A lot of the consuming it was psychological. You get really accustomed to it, and then it's like nothing.
I mean, listen, people have eaten crazy things through history, right?
Just to stay alive.
To stay alive.
Yeah.
And like if we take our mind out of like, oh my gosh, this is gross, then it's not.
Well, the thing is, a lot of what we were serving as gross was some people's food, like balut. Like my friends from Filipino friends, they were
Yeah.
like, "Bro, I eat that all the time." Like that's crazy. That would have been no problem.
But this is a current. I heard a more updated.
What?
season.
Oh my god!
Telling you, it's crazy.
Lions in your. What if that thing pops open? And you got to roll that thing around with lions there.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
the lions are duking it out with each other. Fuck that. That's crazy.
Yeah, like I went to, I recently was on Fallon and there was some bluffing game that we were doing because the movie's called A Bluff. And, I said to Jimmy, I was like, I eat worms. And he was like, no way, you don't eat worms. But these worms are a delicacy in Zimbabwe, and I was introduced to them. I don't know exactly the history, but I was told during segregation, black people were put or in areas where that weren't very fertile. You couldn't really grow your crops and your animals, and they were. So this was a way of like protein. They're very high. These are these fat caterpillars, high in protein, and they're made in a curry. And when you actually eat them, it's like chicken. I'm telling you, it's like it was psychological. But
Well, cicadas, those
Yeah.
things that come
Yeah.
out, and people eat them
Yeah.
here all the time. They
yeah,
bake them.
fried, baked.
Yeah, and apparently they're delicious.
I haven't had one of those, but
I haven't either.
I actually did when I was in
Oh,
ninth grade.
whoa, that's what it looks like?
Yeah,
That's
those are worms.
crazy.
But look at like they're made into a curry.
I ate a tomato hornworm on Fear Factor. I ate a bunch of things when I was on the show.
I was like, there's nothing going into my mouth in Fear Factor.
I ate a sheep's eyeball in the first episode because the first episode I felt bad that the people were on the show. I'm like,
Yeah,
"I
so
can't
you
believe
were
have to
like,
eat
I'm
this."
gonna-
I go, I'll eat it too.
I'll
all
ha-
right. And they didn't show me eating it, but I'm like, I'm gonna eat it because you guys
That's
have
so
to eat
nice.
it. And then I ate a roach to try to convince a lady that she could eat a roach. I ate worms. I ate an Iraqi cave spider. I ate
What was the spider like? Was
just
it,
chewy.
but was it?
The taste is not bad.
Was it alive when you ate it?
Oh yeah, for the first couple seconds. Yeah, yeah. All the things that I ate were alive, other than the eyeball. Yeah, the roach was alive. All those things were alive. Yeah,
I put a cricket, an
that's
alive
what it
cricket
looks like.
in my mouth.
That's the Iraqi cave spider.
How do you put that in your mouth?
like this?
Look at those sides.
You make sure you don't get those pinchers because those.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh!
Yep. Wasn't that bad? I'm telling you, it's
So you've
psychological.
got to get the body in and not the pinchers. The
Yeah,
pinchers
I
have
grab
to stay
the pinchers
out.
to hold on to the body.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Shove the rest of it in,
Oh my
like just that. Yeah, people freaking out. But I'm telling you, it's all psychological.
It for sure is.
yeah, that was in
mean-
Vegas. Everybody was playing roulette. Yeah, no, but it's not that bad. It's just in your head.
It is
the
psychological.
actual flavor of it is. It's not gross.
Yeah, it's not. It's
The
like
tomato hornworm was kind of nasty.
I mean, if you're someone who's not vegetarian, it's like you just have to
Right.
get the.
Yeah.
It's the psychology of it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We made people eat an entire ostrich egg. That was disgusting because the volume. Like you're
Is
eating
it-
an egg that's that big.
Yeah, is it like really fatty? Like
No, it's
fatty?
raw. You're eating it raw. They just cut the top off of the egg and you have to drink it. You have to drink this gigantic white and yolk. Blah.
I'm already
And it's-
sick. So my brisket's coming. The barbecue.
But it's so oddly compelling. It's oddly
Is it?
compelling watching people eat disgusting things and struggling. Yeah,
I mean,
there's the
I
ostrich
have
egg.
to say
That's
I
it.
did
Look,
enjoy
that's
the
the egg.
show.
That lady had to drink that whole egg.
Oh my God, did she puke? I can't.
You got to hold it down, and then you can puke after you're done.
But if you puke in the middle of it, you're disqualified.
Yes, they get rid of you. That's a wrap. If you puke in the middle of it.
I would not be able to do the American version.
Yeah, it was gross.
I'm okay with not eating
It was
that
gross,
stuff.
but it also made me totally desensitized to throw up.
That's a good talent to have,
Oh yeah, like you could throw up right
especially
in
as
front of me.
like a dad.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that I think being a dad will like get you like really
Yeah,
accustomed
desensitize
to
you to
smells
everything.
and all kinds of things like that. But one time, it's so like I'm completely still to this day completely desensitized to vomit. So one time my wife was she came home from the gym and she was on her way home from the gym. She stopped and got wheatgrass juice, and it just didn't agree with her, and she threw up in her car, and she was crying. She's like, I threw up. It's in my center console. How am I gonna clean it? I go, I'll clean it. I'm just so used to throw up. It was like
Because
no
of
big deal. I
your
just went out
trauma
there with a
from the
bunch of
show?
towels. Yeah, like it doesn't. But when I was young,
Wow.
like in high school, I remember if someone threw up in the hallway, I would be like, "Bleh!" Like
Yeah,
I
for
couldn't,
sure.
I couldn't help myself. I'd start gagging. That's a natural instinct because the idea is that we develop that because if someone's throwing up, it means they ate something bad, and you probably
Which
ate
means
that
you
too.
yeah.
Get it out of you right away, and so that's why you start throwing up. And I've killed that. That's
I have just trauma from, tequila
well, I watched so many people throw up.
and throw up. Me too, man. I'm not going in there with a dishcloth. Like, no. Wow. Well, from your show, for sure. You did it
Yeah.
for so long.
You get very desensitized.
Yeah, for sure.
But you get I'm desensitized to injuries too, like because of UFC.
Yeah,
like
for
people
sure.
that get cut and people that get beat up. It's like normal to me. I'm so accustomed to seeing that. It's weird.
I mean, I kind of feel like that about stunts in movies. Like, nobody's supposed to get hurt. It's a movie. Nobody's supposed to get hurt. But like the little cuts and bruises and the end of day, we're doing this for 10 to 11 hours, multiple takes all day. And in between shots, you're rehearsing it. So I have like so many scars on my body from my filmographies on my body.
Do you look forward to? Do you like those things? You look down.
Yeah, I like a
earned
good
those.
story. Yeah, I feel like it's like a medal. I have
As long
a good
as they're
story.
minor. As long as
Yes,
they're minor.
minor.
Nothing crazy.
Always, you aim for it to be minor.
Yeah.
That's the ambition.
Well, when you're doing a fight scene, like I said, I was kind of blown away by some of the fight scenes in the Bluff because I'm looking, I'm like, this is like insane amount of choreography, a lot of possibilities of things going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's kicks and punches and axes and swords, and it's like you got to get banged up. There's no way you're doing that and not getting banged up.
And it was also like a dramatic performance along with it. So I had to
Right.
do a lot of it myself because, you know, you need the face and the camera to feel the horror of what's happening.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, my stunt doubles did like a few dangerous shots for sure and were always around to kind of help.